Hello everyone, welcome to my channel B&B CBS Gossip 24. The heavy metal doors groaned as they opened, their hinges screeching in protest against the silence of the hallway. The sound cut through the air like a warning. Once you step through here, there's no going back. Steffy Forrester didn't flinch. Her heels clicked sharply on the polished concrete floor as she followed the guard down the long corridor. Every step echoed, each one steadier than the last, though her chest felt tight, not with fear, but with a storm she'd been holding back for weeks. The scent of disinfectant burned her nose. The chill of the air conditioning sank into her skin. It felt sterile, lifeless, like a place built to drain people of color and warmth. Good, she thought bitterly. Maybe that's exactly what she needs. When they reached the end of the hallway, the guard stopped and gestured toward a door with a small window of reinforced glass. "She's in there," he said. Steffy nodded, her jaw tightening. "Thank you." She waited until the door buzzed open, then stepped inside. The visiting room was quiet except for the low hum of conversation. Rows of metal tables filled the space, divided by glass partitions. A few inmates sat across from visitors, their voices hushed. The overhead lights flickered slightly, giving everything a washed-out, surreal glow. And then Steffy saw her. Luna Nozawa sat at the far end of the room, her head bowed, her long dark hair tied loosely at the nape of her neck. Even in the shapeless orange prison uniform, there was a trace of the elegance that once made her the darling of Forrester Creations. But it was faint, a ghost of what she used to be. Steffy took in the sight of her, and for a moment, something twisted in her chest. Pity? Anger? She couldn't tell anymore. Luna looked up. When her eyes met Steffy's, her breath caught. "Steffy," she whispered. Her voice cracked on the name, raw and uncertain, as if she couldn't believe Steffy Forrester, of all people, was standing there. Steffy walked forward, her expression unreadable. She sat down across from Luna, folding her arms on the cold metal table. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Finally, Luna broke the silence. "I didn't think you'd come." "I almost didn't," Steffy replied evenly. "But there are things that need to be said. And you need to hear them from me." Luna nodded slowly, her hands trembling as she clasped them together. "I know you hate me." Steffy's eyes hardened. "Hate's too easy. I save that for people who don't matter." The words hit Luna like a slap. Her lip trembled, but she didn't speak. "I came here because I want to understand," Steffy continued. "Not to forgive you, don't mistake this for that. But I need to know how the girl who once stood in my office, full of promise and humility, turned into someone who could destroy everything around her." Luna's eyes filled with tears. "I didn't mean for any of it to happen." "Don't," Steffy cut in sharply. "Don't start with that line. I've heard it from you before, from every person who's ever hurt someone and couldn't face it. You meant what you did. You made choices. And every choice led you here." Luna's shoulders trembled. "It was an accident, Steffy. That night." Steffy leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "You call what happened to Finn an accident?" Luna flinched, tears spilling over. "I didn't see the light change." "You ran that red light," Steffy snapped. "You were angry. You were reckless. You just had a fight with RJ and you took it out on the world. And now my husband's still learning how to walk again because of you." The room went still. Even the guard by the door glanced over. Luna lowered her head, sobbing quietly. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I wake up every night and see it happening again. I would do anything to change it." Steffy's jaw tightened. "Sorry doesn't heal broken bones. Sorry doesn't erase the lies you told after. You didn't just hurt Finn. You broke RJ. You broke my brother." Luna's breath hitched. How is he?" Steffy hesitated. There was a long pause before she said, "He's not the same. You shattered something in him, Luna. You were supposed to be his light. Instead, you turned into his shadow." Luna's tears fell faster. "I loved him," she said through sobs. "I still love him." Steffy's voice turned to steel. "Then why did you destroy him?" Luna's mouth opened, but no sound came. She stared down at her shaking hands, her tears splashing onto the table. Steffy sat back, crossing her arms. "You had everything. Talent. A future. A man who believed in you. And you threw it all away because you couldn't stop chasing something that doesn't exist." Luna looked up, confused. What do you mean? Steffy's gaze was unwavering. Validation. Approval. You wanted everyone to see you, to love you, to tell you that you were enough. But you never believed it yourself, did you? Luna swallowed hard. I just wanted to belong. I thought if I made everyone proud, if I made him proud, you'd finally matter, Steffy finished. Luna's tears came harder now. Yes. There was a long silence. The hum of the lights seemed deafening. Steffy's eyes softened slightly, but only slightly. She leaned forward, her voice quiet and steady. You never loved yourself, Luna. 5 words. They didn't shout. They didn't sting right away. But they sank. Deep, slow, and sharp. Luna froze. Her breath caught in her throat. The words echoed in her head, louder each time. What did you say? She whispered. Steffy didn't repeat them. She didn't need to. Instead, she said, that's why everything fell apart. You were never fighting for love. You were fighting for proof that you deserve it. And that's a war you can't win. Luna's chest rose and fell in shallow, panicked breaths. That's not true, she said weakly. I loved RJ. I loved. You loved the way he looked at you, Steffy interrupted. Because when he did, you thought you could finally stop hating yourself. But when it got hard, when he saw the real you, you panicked. You lied. You ran. You drove that night not because of anger, but because you couldn't stand facing what you'd become. Luna covered her face with her hands. A sob escaped, raw and broken. Stop, she begged. Please stop. But Steffy's tone didn't waver. No, Luna. You need to hear it. Because until you face the truth, this prison isn't your punishment, it's your escape. Out there, you'd still be running. In here, you've got nowhere left to hide. Luna's sobs grew harder. She pressed her forehead to the table, shaking. The guard started to move toward them, but Steffy raised a hand slightly, and he stopped. When Luna finally lifted her head again, her mascara had smudged, her eyes red and swollen. She looked utterly undone. You're right, she whispered. I hated myself. For years. I thought if I worked harder, if I looked perfect, if I made people love me, it would go away. But it never did. Her voice cracked. When RJ looked at me, I felt like I mattered. Like I wasn't just another mistake. But I ruined even that. Steffy exhaled slowly, the fight leaving her voice. You can't build love on broken pieces, Luna. You have to fix what's inside you first. Luna nodded, wiping at her face. How? She asked hoarsely. How do I even begin? By telling yourself the truth, Steffy said. Not the version that makes you a victim. The real one. Luna's lips trembled. The truth is, I don't even know who I am anymore. Steffy's expression softened, not out of forgiveness, but something deeper. Empathy, maybe. Then that's where you start. The guard approached quietly. Time's up. Steffy stood slowly. Luna's eyes followed her, wide and tearful, full of desperate longing, not for sympathy, but for some sign that this conversation hadn't been for nothing. Steffy, Luna whispered. Do you think RJ will ever forgive me? Steffy paused. Her voice was gentler now, almost tender. Forgiveness isn't something you get, Luna. It's something you earn. And that starts with forgiving yourself. Luna nodded weakly, her tears falling silently. As Steffy turned to leave, she stopped one last time at the door. I don't hate you, she said softly. I just can't respect you. Not yet. But maybe one day, when you've faced who you really are, maybe that'll change. And then she was gone. The door closed behind her, sealing Luna in again. For a long time, Luna just sat there, staring at the metal table, her mind replaying every word. Every moment. You never loved yourself, Luna. The words echoed, over and over, until they weren't just Steffy's voice anymore, they were her own. She pressed her palms flat against the table, staring at the reflection of her tear-streaked face in the dull steel. Who was this woman? A liar. A coward. A woman who had mistaken need for love and validation for worth. For the first time, Luna didn't look away. I'm sorry, she whispered, not to Steffy, not to RJ, but to the woman in the reflection. I'm sorry I couldn't love you. Her voice broke. She let the tears come, but there was a strange relief in them. They weren't just tears of guilt, they were the first tears of truth. Later, when the guards led her back to her cell, the other inmates barely looked up. Luna moved like someone underwater, each step heavy but sure. In her cell, she sat down on the narrow bed and stared at the grey wall. With her fingertip, she wrote faintly into the dust-covered paint. "Love yourself first." The letters were uneven, shaky, but they were hers. Luna leaned back, staring at the words. The ache in her chest was still there, but something inside her had shifted. The pain wasn't just punishment anymore, it was a beginning. Steffi's 5 hurt words had broken her, but maybe, just maybe, they had also cracked open the part of her heart that could finally heal. She closed her eyes, whispering the words once more, letting them settle into her bones. "You never loved yourself, Luna." A sob escaped her, but this one was different. It wasn't despair. It was release. Outside, as Steffi walked toward her car, the California sun hit her face. She paused, closing her eyes for a moment. She didn't know if what she'd said had helped. Maybe it had only hurt. But sometimes, the truth had to wound before it could heal. Her phone buzzed, a message from RJ. "RJ, did you see her?" "Steffi, yes." "RJ, was it worth it?" Steffi typed back slowly. "Steffi, she finally heard the truth." She put the phone away and stood for a moment, the sunlight warm against her skin. Maybe one day, she thought, Luna would walk free, not just from the prison walls, but from herself. Until then, 5 simple words would follow her, whispering in her mind, guiding her toward the woman she might still become. He bold and the beautiful, broken and breathless. The morning began like every other in the Los Angeles County Correctional Facility, gray, slow, and suffocating. Luna Nozawa sat alone on her cot, her hands resting on her belly. Her fingers trembled slightly as they traced small circles over the soft curve beneath the coarse orange fabric. It had been 3 months since she'd learned she was pregnant. 3 months since she'd realized that the last piece of RJ Forrester she had left was growing inside her. She hadn't told anyone, not the guards, not the prison doctor, not even Steffi, who had visited her weeks ago with words that still haunted her dreams. "You never loved yourself, Luna." Those words echoed in her mind every night, right before sleep. They had hurt, deeply, but they had also woken something inside her. For the first time in her life, Luna wanted to fight for herself. For her baby. But the walls around her made that fight harder every day. 2. Rumors and whispers. When she walked to breakfast that morning, she could feel the stays. Prison gossip spread faster than wildfire, and Luna had long stopped trying to silence it. "Pretty girl like you don't belong here," one inmate sneered. "She belongs exactly where she is," another muttered, her voice dripping with disdain. Luna kept her head down and tried to breathe. Every step through the cafeteria felt heavier, as if the concrete floor were dragging her down. Her hands trembled. She hadn't slept in days, too many dreams, too many fears. "Stay calm," she told herself. "Breathe for the baby." But her heart raced faster. Her vision blurred. A sharp, twisting pain pulsed through her lower abdomen, and she gripped the edge of the table for balance. "Luna," someone said behind her, but the sound was far away now. The room spun, her knees buckled, and then, darkness. 3. The fall. The clatter of her tray hitting the floor silenced the room. Guards shouted. Someone screamed her name. Luna collapsed onto the cold tile, her body trembling, her breath short and shallow. A guard rushed forward, rolling her onto her side. Luna's eyes fluttered open for a moment, unfocused, frightened. "My baby," she gasped weakly. "Please, my baby." Then her world slipped away again. 4. Steffi learns the news. Back in Los Angeles, Steffi Forrester sat in her office at Forrester Creations, reviewing sketches. The morning sunlight streamed through the window, hitting the photos on her desk, one of Finn and the kids, one of her brother RJ smiling. She tried to focus, but her thoughts drifted. Luna. She hadn't heard from her in weeks. Their last meeting at the prison had left her shaken, Luna's tears, her broken voice repeating those 5 hurt words over and over. "You never loved yourself, Luna." A knock at the door pulled her back. "Come in," she said. It was Finn. His expression was unreadable. "Steffi, there's something you need to know." It's about Luna. Her stomach dropped. What happened? She collapsed this morning in prison. The warden called the hospital. They're bringing her in under guard right now. Steffi stood immediately. Is she? She's alive, Finn said quickly. But there are complications. They think she's pregnant. The words hit Steffi like a physical blow. Pregnant, she whispered. Finn nodded grimly. They're running tests now. She's in the ER. Steffi pressed a hand to her forehead, struggling to breathe. Luna. Pregnant. With RJ's child. She turned to Finn. I have to tell RJ. 5. RJ's breaking point. RJ Forrester stood in the design studio, surrounded by sketches he couldn't focus on. His life had been chaos since Luna's arrest. He tried to move on, he really did, but everything he touched still reminded him of her. The sound of her laughter. The way she'd whisper his name when no one else could hear. The night she'd confessed everything, and how his heart had broken clean in two. When Steffi burst into the room, one look at her face told him something was wrong. RJ, she said, her voice trembling. It's Luna. He froze. What about her? She collapsed in prison. She's in the hospital now. RJ felt the blood drain from his face. What? Why? What happened? She's pregnant, RJ. The room went silent. The only sound was the pounding of his heart. What did you say? He whispered. She's pregnant, Steffi repeated softly. They think she's been hiding it since she was arrested. RJ's hand covered his mouth. He turned away, his chest tightening. My God, he whispered. She's carrying my child. Without another word, he bolted from the room. 6. The hospital. Luna woke to the rhythmic beeping of a heart monitor and the sterile scent of antiseptic. The ceiling above her was white and blurred by tears. Her stomach hurt, not sharply, but enough to make her heart race. Her hand flew instinctively to her belly. Please, she whispered. Please, let my baby be okay. A nurse appeared beside her. Ms. Nozawa, you're awake. Don't try to move yet. My baby, Luna said, her voice shaking. Is my baby okay? The nurse hesitated. You had a severe stress episode. Your blood pressure spiked and you fainted. The doctor's monitoring the baby now. Luna's eyes filled with tears. Is it still? The nurse's voice softened. There's still a heartbeat. Luna broke down, sobbing in relief. Thank God. The nurse placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. You need rest. The doctor will be in soon. And, you have visitors. Luna blinked. Visitors. Before the nurse could answer, the door opened, and there he was. RJ. He looked exhausted, disheveled, his eyes red from crying or lack of sleep, or both. Behind him, Steffi stood quietly, watching. Luna's breath hitched. RJ. He crossed the room in seconds, his hands trembling as he reached for hers. You scared me, he whispered. You scared me so bad. I didn't tell anyone, Luna sobbed. I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want you to worry. RJ shook his head. Luna, you don't get to protect me from this. You're not alone in it, not anymore. Tears streamed down her face. I thought you hated me. I tried to, he said. But I couldn't. Not even for a second. Behind them, Steffi stepped closer, her voice calm but firm. The doctor said she needs rest. We should let her breathe. But Luna clung to RJ's hand. Please don't leave me, she whispered. He leaned down, pressing his forehead to hers. I'm not going anywhere. 7. The confession. When Finn came in, his expression was serious. Luna, I need to be honest with you. The baby's heart rate is stable for now, but your body is under extreme stress. You need to stay calm and rest, or we could lose the pregnancy. Luna's lips trembled. I'll do whatever it takes. Finn nodded. We'll keep monitoring you. The next 24 hours are critical. As he left, Steffi lingered by the bed. Luna looked up at her, searching for forgiveness she didn't expect to find. Steffi, Luna whispered. I'm sorry. For everything. Steffi hesitated. The pain of the past still lived in her eyes, but there was something else there now, empathy. You made mistakes, Luna, she said quietly. But right now, what matters is that you and that baby pull through. Luna nodded, tears rolling silently down her cheeks. You once told me I never loved myself, she whispered. Maybe that's true. But this baby. I love this baby more than I've ever loved anything. Maybe that's where it starts. Steffi's lips parted, her voice soft. Then fight for that love. 8. A long night. Hours passed. Machines beeped steadily. Luna drifted in and out of sleep, RJ never leaving her side. He brushed her hair gently, whispering promises only she could hear. We'll get through this, he murmured. You, me, and our baby. Steffi watched quietly from the corner, emotion glistening in her eyes. She remembered what it was like to fight for family, for hope, against all odds. But as the night deepened, the monitor's rhythm faltered. Luna stared, frowning. RJ? He looked at the screen, the heart rate was dropping. Finn. Steffi shouted, hitting the call button. We need help in here. Within seconds, doctors rushed in. Nurses moved quickly, adjusting machines, checking Luna's vitals. Luna reached for RJ's hand, her voice trembling. Please, don't let them take my baby. You're going to be okay, he whispered fiercely, clutching her hand. Both of you. The doctor looked up, his expression grim. We need to get her to the OR, now. 9. The cliffhanger. The doors swung open as they wheeled Luna down the hall. Her fingers slipped from RJ's grasp, and his heart shattered with the loss of her touch. RJ, she cried weakly. Don't let go. I'm right here, he shouted, tears streaming down his face. I'm not leaving you. The doors slammed shut between them. Steffi placed a trembling hand on his shoulder. She's strong. You know she is. RJ turned to her, his eyes red and wild. She can't lose this baby, Steffi. She can't. Steffi swallowed hard, unable to promise what she didn't know. Through the glass window of the operating room, Finn met their eyes. His expression was grave. RJ pressed his hand to the glass, whispering a prayer. Please, Luna. Come back to me. Come back to us. Inside, the monitor's beeping quickened, then slowed. The doctors shouted orders. The lights flickered. And then, beep, beep, beep. The steady rhythm returned. Finn exhaled, but his face didn't relax. He looked up, meeting Steffi's eyes through the glass. And the words he mouthed froze her blood. We're losing her.